This is Jacob from Kvaen, and you're listening to the Dan Shan Show.
Hey Jacob, how's things, mate? Very north of Sweden and Finnish border. Tell me about it. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Yeah, as per usual, lots of interviews and, lots of talking and everything in between, and writing music, which is a constant thing of mine. So life is good here in the north. Trying to count down the days until my vacation, so I can go out and do all the touring, the festivals, and and all that shenanigans.
Of course.
Yeah, that's basically how it is. How are you, man?
I'm very good. Thanks for asking. And we'll get into all the details of what's happening with you and the band and everything. And so Friday night, what are you doing on Friday night? It was obviously I checked your weather. I think you live in a place called Calix. Am I right? I checked last night on my weather. I saw that the sun sets at 11:30 and rises again at something like 1:15. And I couldn't. It blew my mind away. And for those who don't know where that is, if you know where Iceland is, you go across and it's kind of there, right? That's how north we are.
This is even more north than that. I mean, really? This is like, I live like 25 minutes away from Finland, so we're in the, like, I have, like, Norway is a few hours away from me, and Finland's 25 minutes, and that's like where the border is, right? So we have this thing called the midnight sun. The sun never goes down. It's always light during the night, so that's when you have to have these these certain what do you call them, like you draw them down from in your bedroom, what do you call them, like
the blackout blinds.
The blanks, yeah. So you have to have them fucking pitch black, because otherwise you're not gonna get any sleep.
But how much does that mess with your mind, obviously, because obviously Southern Europe, where I am as well, it's normal hours, shall we say, normal hours. What's it like obviously winter, it's gonna be very black for like most of the day, and then summer's so bright you want to party all night. How does it work? How do you get your brain around it?
Well, since I'm born and raised here, I lived here from like, since I was a kid until I got 18, and then I moved around a lot. I mean, I lived in southern Finland, I've lived in whatever. But for me, this is Scandinavia. This is the Nordic countries. This is my home.
Yeah.
So this is not a problem for me. I'm so used to it, and I love it.
Sure. Well, let's get into the music, man. That's the reason you're here. First off the bat, I've got to ask you this, because I played you on my show last week, and I'm trying to get my head around how I'm now saying your name. And I want to say Kvaen. Am I near there?
Yes.
Is that right?
It's well, if you say with like my accent, it's Kvaen. But you're just as close as you can get.
Please. It's pretty obvious. But when you first read it as an English speaker, like, how do I get that V in there without that K? You know what I mean? But it's good to know how you are. And by the way, while we're on it, happy National Day of Sweden. Was it last week? 2 weeks ago?
No, it was yesterday, actually.
Was it really?
Yeah. So, funny story. Like, we get, I only worked until Wednesday this week, right? And my gig is I'm a teacher.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I got like I worked until Wednesday, and then it's a long weekend, right? So my friend hits me up. Yeah, let's hit the barbecue and everything. Yeah. And then let's go out for a couple of beers. I'm like, okay, a couple of beers sounds fun. We haven't done this in a long time. God damn.
It's always the same, man. It's always the same.
It's like, fuck, man. Dude, it's like 1 a.m. right now. It's way
it's still sunny.
And it's way past my bedtime. And I woke up, I'm like, I'm never drinking again.
The classic, mate. Classic. We've all been there. Probably I'll be there. I'll be there tomorrow night, no doubt. Now, I'm going to say, what age group are your kids that you teach? And are they, what kind of, is it a certain class you teach, or is it like primary school? First school? Yeah,
it's all primary school, so it's from first grade till 9th grade.
Wow.
And it's pretty cool, especially the kids in like the younger kids, they're still kind of, I don't know, they still think that I'm kind of cool.
Yeah, but that's good.
the kids who are like 13 to 15, they're like, well, they still think I'm pretty cool, but because they know that I tour a lot, and they
That's
know that I
cool.
travel, and they always ask me like, yeah, where were you playing this weekend? I was like, I was just in Berlin,
That's cool. Nice.
and they
Nice.
like, whoa,
That's cool. I love
really
that.
hype
I
me.
love that.
And sometimes I go like, yeah, I was just in Stockholm, and we slept at the best hotels.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. It's good that they give you some respect, though. They're not dissing
Yeah,
you. They
yeah.
like it. I love that. That's really cool.
Yeah. They think they think I'm really cool, and sometimes of course you got to put on a little charade to
Yeah.
make it a little bit so it doesn't get as the kids say it these days, cringe.
Have you ever worn the corpse paint into school?
No, I'm that's goddamn,
That's one
that's taking it way too far.
Halloween, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Right.
Halloween, absolutely, but
It's my stage gear, honest. Right, let's
yeah,
get
yeah,
on to
yeah.
this. Let's go on to this new album, mate, because I've heard it ahead of release and it's pretty awesome and I'm loving it. The new album I'm talking about is out on the 21st of June, so not far away now, and it's called The Formless Fires. And how anxious, excited are you to be getting this released?
You know, for I don't really see it in that way. I see it more like, once it's out there, and I can do nothing about it. And
Yeah,
I'm of course, like with every album I do, I'm extremely proud, and I'm privileged to work with the people that I've been,
yeah,
that I can work with. I mean, I work with some of the best people in the fucking business.
yeah,
So for me, it's I would say that I'm more honored and privileged to work with such amazing human beings
Mhm.
that don't fucking hate me, because I can be a bitch to work with, but we all have mutual respect for each other. So
Nice.
I'm so excited, of course, about about the release of this album, because this is the first album for Kvaen that's released on a major record label, right?
Of course. Yeah, I mean,
Because
I was
the
going to
two
mention
other,
that, but please tell me about that whole thing as well with Metal Blade.
yeah, okay. So, well, as most of those who have been following the band knows, that the two previous albums were released on underground record label by my friend Oliver. It's called Black Lion Records, and he was extremely supportive, and I mean, he put a lot of money into this band. I mean, but at the same time, it's the first album that I released, The Funeral Pyre, back in 2020. He was actually thinking about just putting down the label. But then I told him that I need a label to put out my album, and he listened to it and it's like, I really see the potential in this. Okay, I'm gonna give it one last go, and if it fails, then it's probably just not gonna do it this anymore.
Yeah.
So, but it sold extremely well, and I mean, I think we're on our sixth pressing on vinyl, 500 copies. So I mean, it's been almost two and a half thousand copies sold in a couple of years.
Wow.
Amazing. And same goes with it. Then we decided to go and do another record together, and since we're friends, it's there were not really that much bureaucracy involved. So that's really cool. That's what I love with working with people like that. Is like, I trust you, and I think it's gonna be fucking great. And it turned out great. I mean, now we're doing a fifth pressing of the second album.
Wow.
Which is in 2 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, and but yeah, working with Melbourne. Okay. I got in touch with Andreas of Metal Blade, and we started talking, and we had a good time. And I got invited. We played Summer Breeze 2022.
Yeah.
And we did a show that I think a lot of people who had never heard our music got very touched by and impressed, because I mean, we're still an underground band, but we're not underground musicians. Everyone who plays in Kvaen are really fucking good at what they're doing. I'm not speaking about myself, but I'm speaking about the guys in my band.
Yeah, sure.
They're the guys that covers me up when I fuck up. Yeah. So and I think we did a really, really good impression. And we got invited to go to the Metal Blade Records. They had this anniversary party, and me and Andreas started talking, and we had a great time. And then we just started emailing him like, hey, what do you, yeah. And that's how the whole deal came about. And of course, I mean, deals like this, they're not like, you sign to an underground label. I mean, there's a lot of things you have to go through, and
Sure.
this and that. So yeah, but in the end, I mean, I'm here talking to you. So I
That's
mean,
it. Yeah, that's good.
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Now, talk to me about the machinations, the engine room of the band, because you are effectively a one-man project, right? And when it comes to the record, how is this for you? Do you ever feel more free when you're alone, or is there ever times when you wish you brought more, members into the band full time? How is it? And the people you say that you work with, they're obviously the engineers, producers. Tell me about all that.
All right. So, I mean, this is kind of a tricky question because, when I started it was a project.
Yeah.
But I mean, no major label wants to sign a project.
No,
that doesn't make any sense. I mean, because they want a touring band, they want this and that. So I would definitely say that Kvaen is a band these days, even though I am the guy that writes and composes and arranges all the music.
Yeah.
But this doesn't mean that the other guys doesn't have any input, because of course, when I finish a song, I send it, to the other guys. Just listen to it. Do you think there's anything I can improve? Because I think constructive criticism, even though you're the sole composer, is probably one of the most important things you can you can have. I mean, if you can chat with people or talk with people who think like you do and can express themselves in ways that's not like, yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah.
Like, that I have never, been that kind of a person. I always want to talk with people who can express themselves with constructive criticism. That's why I love sending my songs to these guys. Like, hey, listen to this. What can I improve? And be honest. So that's one of the things. And of course, I did an interview last night with an American interviewer. And she said, she almost had like kind of a similar question. And I said, for me, it's never been about, it's always been about evolving, not only as a person, but as a musician. And the older you get, the more experience you get, and the more things you get along the road. And I think that's a primary reason to why we have evolved so quickly, because, I've never been about stopping at one point, like, I'm not gonna evolve anymore,
Yeah, of course.
True culture or whatever. I've never been like that. As much as I love my old black metal, Kvaen has never been a project where I would like sit down and just, I'm just gonna do a Dark Throne album style, Dark Throne, 90s Dark Throne. Never been like that. So.
Okay, got you. So okay, let's get this right. So the guys in that you do send the tracks to, these are the guys that are in your live outfit, right?
Yes.
And let me get this right as well. You've got former M&M Marth drummer Frederick Anderson as well on the album. He's a monster drummer. How long has he been in the band? Are the guys that are in the band, are they regulars? Have they been in the band for a while now, or do you kind of like, do they come and go?
Frederick has been in the band since we did our first gig.
Yeah.
And we've been very good friends ever since. And we've had a few members come in and out and go, but I've always said that, I hate people that come and go.
Yeah.
Because when you have something really unique going on chemistry-wise, I don't like to change the members. I like to keep it the way it is, because then I feel safe.
Yeah.
Because I only play with people that either are at that level that I want them to be, or better than me. And I have guys that are in many terms better than me at playing. So I feel very safe with that. I feel very confident.
I understand.
And they push me also, to become better.
Yeah.
So I hate when people say that I have to leave the band because of this. I'm like, oh shit, fuck. But I mean, that's life also. I mean, we had my one of my favorite guys, one of my absolute best friends since like 15, 17 years. He decided to, put the sword into the ground and say, hey, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
You can't stand touring. It's too intense. It's too much, and I have full respect for that because now he has a wife, a family, and I respect that.
Yeah.
And I was so bummed. It really I was so bummed, but of course I knew that he has to carry on with whatever he does, and I'm happy for him.
Sure.
Because I know that we had this guy Chris who now has been playing with us for 2.5 years, and he's an amazing guitar player and a great guy. So I'm happy that he's the guy that took his place.
Got you. Yeah. I understand. So when it comes to the writing aspect, then Jacob, that's all you, right?
Yes.
So being on your own as such, how do you get creative? How do you start recording? Does it never end in your head, or do you have to go to a certain place to get in that zone to start I'm going to start writing now, or is it always going on in your head?
It never stops. It's that easy.
Yeah.
No, really. No, it's that easy. I mean, because, I never limit myself musically. I have never done that. Even when I was a little brat, I never limited myself musically. And, my all-time favorite band is Pink Floyd, for example.
Right,
I mean, that's a total opposite of what the music I play, right?
Yeah, of course.
But for me, I feel so much more inspiration from them than listening to the latest. I don't know, if some dude releases his new one-man black metal band, Jahad, whatever.
Yeah.
I normally I don't feel anything when I listen to that, but when I listen to stuff like Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin or The Doors, whatever. I mean, one of my all-time favorite bands is Toto, for example. I mean,
wow.
I fucking love Toto.
Yeah.
As much as I love extreme metal and black metal, death metal, whatever it be, I still have a big I take a lot of inspiration from these bands that are not metal at all.
Sure.
So yeah, sure. I think that's where my I hear a vocal melody on some song and I'm like, shit, what if I turn that into I basically steal. It's okay. Basically steal it and just make it into extreme metal. That's basically how I work. Everything comes from a melody. It rarely comes from a riff. It's from a melody, and that's right. That's usually how I work around a song. Everything comes from a melody.
And obviously lyrics, I read somewhere that you said that lyrics are very important to you as well, obviously. Now, but what are the themes behind your tracks? What do you like to write about?
Well, in order to make, I mean, for me, whenever I have to sing something, I have to be convincing. I think convincing is the word for me that every singer should take to their heart. Because if you can't convince someone what you're singing about, how are you going to how will you be able to tell anyone, like, or make anyone feel something? Yeah. So for me, lyrics have always been about being able to convince someone that you're actually being serious about what you're saying.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, I have to write about stuff that means something to me, and that can go everything from personal experiences to things that I find very interesting, but everything relates into a personal thing, basically.
Yeah. And obviously your geography and your position in the world up there in Scandinavia, how important is the geography in your music, and how much does it bleed into your tracks?
Oh, I think it bleeds in like at least to 75%.
Really?
Because the 25% is the other the other parts of the world. But for me, I live here, I breathe this air. This is who I am. I'm a Nordic dude with I live here and this is my life. So I live here 25% of my life, and 25% I'm out touring, or I'm in Stockholm or Gothenburg or whatever, recording or touring, or But for me, living in this environment is extremely inspirational in terms of music and also, of course, of lyrics.
Can you, for those that don't know your environment, if they were completely like shut in a box for all their life, what do you take from your environment? Is it something that's sort of like subliminal, or do you look out your window and see themes and images and lyrics and stuff? Is that, or when you take a walk or something?
Well, let me put it this way. I mean, when let's say that's January or February. I mean, I see the Northern Lights more or less every day.
Yeah, amazing.
And I don't think I have to put it in any more words than that.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, that's such a personal thing, and I still, almost like count down to the days when I can see the Northern Lights again, because there's just something about it that makes me spiritually connected, and
Right.
it's very weird to try to describe it with words. I can't describe it exactly with words because it's such an enormous feeling that I feel, because it's so I feel so spiritually connected to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all about it I have to say about it.
No, that sums it up. The Northern Lights is something that people strive to see at least once in their life, and you see it all the time. So that's pretty special. So while you're here, I need to mention the band name. We've discussed the pronunciation. Now, can you tell me the story behind it? Because I believe it's some local folklore or some local hero. Is that right?
The Kvaens were the first Vikings to ever walk this earth, and it's actually my aunt. Her husband has made a big research on the Kvaens, and it's from looking at the researches. My heritage are the Kvaens, the first Vikings.
Wow!
So this was very inspirational to me. So I started looking up all these things, and it goes back to the history of Alfred the Great and everything that when they heard about the Kvaens and all the trading that went on all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
So Kvaenland was the region where I lived. It was called Kvaenland back then. And this was extremely inspirational to me. I was like, I've never heard about this, because it's forgotten history. And I was sort of like, I want to bring this back, and I want to make people read about this. And I think the best source to do that is to write it through music and through words. So that's what I did.
Yeah. I love it. I love that. And especially, obviously, it means so much to you as well. I mean, I didn't know anything about the Kvaens. I thought it was just, I thought I read that it was a person, but I didn't realize it was like almost a tribe, I suppose.
Well, they were the first Vikings who ever walked this earth.
Wow.
The Vikings, and they were very respected. Like everyone had a lot of respect for the Kvaens, and they were the best by their reputation. They were the best fighters. Also, I mean, there's been some reported stuff about. There were big fights in Karelia, and they sent 300 fighters over. I think it was 300, and they conquered. They helped them win the fights towards their enemy. And there are so many cool stories about the Kvaens.
Was it easy for you to find the band name then when you knew about this?
Yeah, I knew it all from the start. I knew that this is. Yeah.
Right. That's definitely something to research in my off time. Right. So on to live shows. What's happening this year and what's coming up in the future? What's happening to back the album up?
We have this summer, we have like 7 or 8 gigs. So yeah, we have quite a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And then we got the tour planned for the end of this year. Cool. So hopefully November, December we'll have a tour.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's what's going on right now. And then of course, as always, I always have music written. So
yeah. But you obviously, we just touched upon it as well, and you had a huge European tour last fall with Insomnia. I mean, how was that tour? Because that was many days, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was many days.
Was that the longest tour you've done so far?
Yeah, by far. I mean, six weeks.
Right.
I have to say, I just want to say that I think the guys from Insomnium and In Morning are some of the best people I have ever had the chance to tour with.
Yeah.
and especially I just want to say a big thank you to Insomnium for having us, and Marcus especially, who recommended us, because yeah, it's such an honor, and and to become like good friends with those guys, and just they're just big music fans like you and I,
Hmm.
and normal people. It's cool. I love
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
They're
So
great,
cool.
great, great, great people, and I would love to do it again.
What was a standout show for you on that tour, and why?
Definitely, the two shows that I think stood out the most were Backstage Munich, because
Yeah.
it was sold out like 1,200, 1,300 people, and we had like two mosh pits as an opening
Nice.
band.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty rare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and then I would say the second one that stood out, mm, or well, there were many who stood out. There were many sold out shows, but Prague
Yeah.
is always a good
Yes,
place.
it's good. Yeah. Yeah. Great place.
Oh,
Good. And
oh,
great and
oh,
great beer as well.
oh yeah, definitely, definitely. So Prague, Budapest was amazing.
Yeah.
But the one memory I hold dearest to my heart from that tour was definitely Backstage Munich, and not only because I love Backstage. Backstage one of my favorite venues to play,
Yeah.
but there is always this incredible support from the audience. So that's
Awesome. Awesome. Now, being you and being a lone wolf when it comes to the writing, but being with a team of people when you're on stage, what do you prefer, stage or studio?
well, I love writing songs and I love being creative, but I hate recording.
Right.
So, but when I hear the end results of an album, and you put your heart and soul into it, and you've bled and you've cried and you have
Yeah.
I still have to say that playing live is way more exciting, just to get
Yeah.
the energy when you play a song that people feel
Yeah.
a connection to. That's that feeling.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than that.
I get that totally.
So live for sure.
Live for sure. Now, I know you've touched upon it with some of your non-metal bands, but going back a while, what got a lad from Northern Scandinavia into metal? What influences started your engines for metal? For metal, that is.
For metal, okay. Well, I didn't start listening to heavy metal. I mean, I I come from a blues background, John Lee
Right.
Hooker and
Yeah, yeah,
Lou Reed,
yeah,
and then I heard this band called Creedence Clearwater Revival, which
yeah,
is
yeah,
one of my all-time favorite bands, and John Fogerty is probably my favorite songwriter. And I heard
yeah,
Dire Straits,
yeah,
and then I stumbled across Metallica,
yeah.
Iron Maiden, and Manowar,
All
and
right.
that sort of put a stamp on that. This is what I want to do.
Yeah, that's where the journey started.
Absolutely. When it comes to metal, absolute Manowar. I think Manowar and Iron Maiden, and of course Metallica. They were like the stamp of like my journey to heavy metal.
Yeah, of course. Like a lot of people, I think, especially Metallica, obviously.
Yeah.
So away from the music, obviously you're a teacher and you're obviously going to mark work at home, etc. But what do you do in your spare time that you do have, that you do put the guitar down or you do put the microphone down? What do you do in your spare time?
I play a lot of drums,
Ah, cool. Okay.
and I bicycle at least 10 kilometers a day.
Nice. That fresh
I
air. Oh, I can imagine that air is really fresh.
Oh, it's super fresh, man. God damn, I love it. And
Oh dear.
I swim.
Yeah, nice. That must be cold.
Twice. Well, it's indoors.
Oh, it's indoors. I just imagine you having one of those saunas at the side of the lake and you dive in the lake after you've been in the
Oh
sun.
yeah, what I got that in my cabin. I do
Wow.
that at my cabin. I have the outdoor sauna, which
Amazing.
you
Amazing.
turn on. You have to put the wood in there and light it up. It takes a few hours, but
Yeah, wow.
but yeah. So, and I have a lake there. Of course, we go in for a swim every time we go there. But yeah, so I try to swim twice a week. At least for 45 minutes.
Do you get creative
Uh,
when you swim? Because I swim a lot being in on the Mediterranean. When I swim, I get all creative in my head and I start thinking creatively. Does that happen to you as well?
yeah, absolutely. I get all these crazy kind of ideas.
Yes. I
So
don't know what it is with swimming that's different to water. I don't know what it is with swimming. Maybe you're controlling your body more and you're just thinking. I don't know what it is.
I don't know either. I just really love the feeling of swimming. I don't know why. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
a lot of people are afraid of water, but I've never
Uh,
been afraid of it.
mm,
I think it's a liberating feeling to be in the water.
definitely.
I don't know. I feel really free when I float in the water. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I fucking love it.
Yeah. It's the closest we'll get to flying, I suppose. This is a free
Yeah, right.
floating. So, in your opinion, how is the metal scene these days? Is it thriving or is it struggling? How do you see it?
I have to be honest. I don't follow the metal scene. I
Right.
mean, if my friends put out an album, I check it out. But
Yeah.
I'm not really that interested because I am not. I have seen where this metal scene has been going the past couple of years, and
Yeah.
it's. I'm an old school guy. I mean,
Yeah.
I when I listen to metal, I put on Venom, Welcome to Hell,
Of
black metal,
course.
or I listen
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Merciful
Yeah.
Fates, or
Yeah.
well, the good. This whole modern thing is not,
Mm,
I mean, whatever floats your boat.
yeah. I
But
get.
for me, I don't feel anything when I listen
Mm,
to it.
no, I get.
I want my dirty fucking battery stuff.
Yeah.
That's me because that's what metal is to me. And
Yeah. I
of
get
course,
it.
this does not resonate with a lot of people today, but that's fine.
No, I get it.
I'd rather have four of my friends come over and we put on Under the Sign of the Black Mark by Bathory and we have a
Yeah.
good time.
Yeah, for sure. I get that. I get that. Now, finally, Jacob, it's a tough question, this one. What's the most used emoji in your phone?
Probably. That's a very good question.
You have to quickly look.
I actually have been trying to think about it. Actually, I got it was one of my friends. So actually, I think he asked this like recently. Like, what's your used emoji on your phone? I think it's a laugh. I think it's a laugh smiley.
A laugh smile. Good. That's
Yeah,
good.
because a lot of people, me and my friends send these stupid memes all the time.
Yeah, yeah. We all do it. We all do it.
Ridiculous. Well, so I have to fucking put it. It's a laugh emoji because
Yeah.
when I have a shitty day and some of my idiot friends they send me this stupid meme and I'm like go like God damn.
It's an acknowledgement. You gotta acknowledge it. I know. I do the same.
I love it. I love it.
Listen, Jacob, thanks for your time this evening. Good luck with the album drop and your shows to follow. Hope to see you on the road at some time later this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me and thanks for showing your interest in Kvaen.